Alrighty, folks, we're now 4-0 in our last 4 NBA tier package plays on my premium page. We had the Knicks minus 3.5 on Saturday, and they put up 121 points against the Hawks in a blowout. Got to tell you, I was listening to the first half of that game on Sirius XM, and the Atlanta announcers were none too pleased with their first half performance. And the good news is, folks, I've got another NBA tier package play going off here for you on Sunday. That play's actually posted already, and it's ready for access on my premium page right now. Now, if you join that NBA membership, you're going to get access to that package every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships during that time frame, absolutely free. Going to be included with your membership. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to my free pick video here today for Sunday, April 6, 2025. Happy Sunday to you. Hopefully you're having a great weekend. And if you're joining me for the first time here today, my name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks on YouTube since 2016. Of course, if you want to access all of my premium selections, you may want to think about joining my full access, all-inclusive Gold Club membership. Gold Club members get access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And if you don't need access to all of my premium plays, but maybe you could use like one a day, you may want to think about signing up for that daily best play membership. Costs you 6 cents a day for 30 days worth of access. Of course, I got plenty of free content on my premium page as well. I currently have over 2,305 members who are signed up and active on my premium page right now. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. You really give me the fuel to keep on going, man. It's been a really good community of sports bettors. So with that, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. Going to start off in the NBA. Bulls, Hornets, 1 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Chicago's minus 10, totals 227.5. Now the Bulls are 35-42 on the year, failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4. Chicago's giving up 120 points a game this year, really struggled on defense throughout the entire season. They're actually allowing more field goals a game than any other team in the association. And they're facing a Hornets club who actually covered the number recently against Indiana and New York. They had an outright victory over Utah not too long ago. When it comes to rebounding the basketball, the Hornets are 7th in the league in offensive boards. Now, injury-wise, Williams, Green, and Smith are questionable for Charlotte. Terry and Ball questionable for Chicago. Bulls games went 7-2 to the over in their last 9. Charlotte with overs in 5 out of their last 9 themselves. I like the Hornets plus 10 over 227.5. All right, next matchup, Lakers Thunder, 3:30 p.m. East. Oklahoma City's minus 9, totals 233. And as good as OKC's been this year, they've had some problems underneath the basket. They're actually a bottom 10 defensive rebounding team, sending a good amount of shooters to the foul line as well. OKC's in the bottom 5 in free throws allowed per contest. And fortunately for the Lakers, that's one of the things that they do great. They get a lot of calls, put a lot of shooters to the stripe. They're actually making more free throws a game than any other team besides one. When it comes to defensive play, well, the Lakers are a top 10 defensive rebounding team, top 10 in guarding the field goal. Hachimura and James are day-to-day for Los Angeles. Joe, Williams, and Deng questionable for Oklahoma City. The under games went 5-4 to the under in their last 9, throwing out that Houston contest. Meanwhile, the Lakers saw unders recently against Chicago, Milwaukee, and Houston. I like the Lakers plus 9, under 233. Next game, Raptors Nets, 3:30 p.m. East. Toronto's minus 2, totals 214.5. And listen, both organizations in this matchup with significant problems on offense. It's been that way for pretty much the entire season. Toronto's getting more shots blocked per game than any other team besides one. The Raptors are also making just 11 three balls a game. That's second worst in the NBA. They've been little threat shooting the deep ball. Meanwhile, Brooklyn on the other side, well, like I said, they've been a disaster on offense themselves, averaging only 105 points a game, dead last in field goals made. Now, Wilson, Williams, and Johnson are questionable for the Nets. Barrett and Barnes day-to-day for Toronto. Raptor games went 7-3 to the under in their last 10. Brooklyn with unders recently against Minnesota, Indiana, and this very Toronto team. Matter of fact, that head-to-head contest saw just 202 total points. I like the under 214.5. Next game, Jazz Hawks, 6 o'clock Eastern tip. Atlanta's minus 12, totals 243.5. Now, the Hawks are 5 games under 500, losing record against the point spread. And more recently, the Hawks are on a 3-game skid, just 1-5 straight up in their last 6. And you could tell the Atlanta faithful's frustration, like I said, when I was listening to the broadcast here earlier on Saturday. Now, listen, defensively, Atlanta gives up 120 points a game. They've been a wreck on defense. Bottom 3 in defensive field goal percentage. And they're taking on a Utah team who, I get it, they're not great. Matter of fact, you could consider they suck, right? But believe it or not, Utah does a nice job getting to the line. They are in the top 10 in free throws made per contest. They're also doing a nice job of getting second chances. They're 6th in offensive boards per game. Now, Martin, Kessler, and Markkanen are day-to-day. Capella banged up for Atlanta. Hawks games went 7-2 to the over in their last 9. Utah games 5-4 to the over in their last 9 themselves. I like the Jazz plus 12 over 243.5. All right, next contest, Spurs, Blazers, 6 o'clock Eastern tip. Portland's minus 2.5, totals 227. Now, the Blazers are 10 games under 500, failed to cover in 4 out of their last 7. Portland's currently in the bottom 10 in defensive field goal percentage. Tends to get in foul trouble as well. Portland's actually allowing over 18 made free throws a game. And they're facing a San Antonio squad who's surprisingly committed to the 3-ball. The Spurs are making nearly 15 3-pointers a game. They're actually 8th in the NBA in that category. And listen, when the Spurs have the ball, they really don't turn it over a whole lot. And they're actually 6th in the league in assists per game, really swinging that thing around. Now, Sohan is questionable for San Antonio. Reith, Kamara, Sissoko, Henderson, Simons, and Grant are all day-to-day for Portland. Blazer games went 5-3 to the over in their last 8. Spurs with overs against Orlando, Golden State, and Boston. I like the Spurs plus 2.5, over 227. Next matchup, Kings, Cavaliers, 6 o'clock East. Cleveland's minus 10, totals 236.5. Cleveland's 62-15 on the year, 33-5 at home. And more recently, the Cavs got the W in 6 out of their last 7. They're currently the highest point-producing team in the league. Darius Garland shoots 40% from 3-land, 20 points a game for him. And Donovan Mitchell averages 24 points per contest himself, 4 boards, 5 assists. Now, injury-wise, Wade and Jerome are day-to-day for Cleveland. LaRavia nursing a thumb injury for Sacramento. The Kings saw overs recently with the Hornets, Blazers, and Bulls. Cleveland games went 7-3 to the over in their last 10. I like the Cavaliers minus 10, over 236.5. Next matchup, Wizards, Celtics, 6 o'clock East. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the highest point spread of the year. I don't recall seeing one higher than this one. Boston is minus 20, totals 226. The Celtics are 37 games over 500. Washington just 17-60. More recently, the Wizards dropped 8 out of their last 10, bottom 3 in shooting from the field. That's certainly bad news for them because Boston has the second lowest defensive field goal percentage in the entire NBA. They also rarely get into foul trouble. They're actually sending fewer shooters to the stripe than any other team besides one. Brown and Tatum are day-to-day for Boston. Don't think that's going to matter. You might want to sit this one out and take a little breather. Meanwhile, Poole, Holmes, Middleton, George, and Brogdon questionable for Washington. The Wizards saw unders in their last 3 straight. Boston with unders in 5 out of their last 9. This is an absolutely ridiculous number, but we've said before on this program, Boston has a ridiculous amount of depth. Even if Tatum and Brown sit out, I don't think they're going to have any troubles covering this number. Give me the Celtics minus 20, under 226. All right, next matchup, interesting spot here. Suns, Knicks, 7 o'clock East. New York's minus 7.5, despite being in the second of a back-to-back here. Totals 228 and a hook. The Knicks do have a losing record against the point spread. Troubles on the defensive end of the floor. So even though we cashed on them here on Saturday in our NBA tier package pick, we're going to fade them on Sunday. Kind of a big number to lay here in the second of a back-to-back. New York's in the bottom 10 in defensive field goal percentage, bottom 5 in guarding the deep ball. And fortunately for Phoenix, they're one of the better three-point shooting teams in the game. They're in the top 3 in offensive three-point percentage, second in shooting from the stripe. Grayson Allen drills 43% of his long balls. Devin Booker with over 25.5 points a night. Now, Kevin Durant is battling an ankle injury. Brunson with an ankle injury as well for New York. The Knicks saw overs recently with the Bucks, Clippers, and Mavericks. Meanwhile, Phoenix games went 6-2 to the over in their last 8. I like the Suns plus 7.5, over 228 and a hook. Next game, Pacers, Nuggets, 8 o'clock East. Denver's minus 5.5, totals 239. Very similar records here. Denver's 47-31. Indy's 46-31 themselves. Of course, both teams with the ability to put up a whole lot of points. Should be a very fun matchup. The Pacers are in the top 3 in shooting from the field, 3rd in assists per game. Tyrese Halliburton averages over 18.5 points per contest, nearly 40% shooting from downtown. Meanwhile, Turner and Nesmith are drilling well over 40% of their three-pointers combined. And they're facing a Denver team on the other side who actually makes more field goals a game than any other organization. Nikola Jokic averages 29, 12, and 10, 42% shooting from outside the arc. And speaking of the long ball, Aaron Gordon is splashing 45% of his three-pointers. Jamal Murray's questionable for Denver. Pascal Siakam day-to-day for Indy. Pacer games went 5-1 to the over in their last 6. Denver with overs in 6 out of their last 9. I like the over 239. Next matchup, Bucks, Pelicans, 8:30 p.m. East. Milwaukee's minus 11.5, totals 222. The Bucks are in the top 5 in offensive field goal percentage, best three-point shooting team in the game. Gary Trent Jr. drains 42% of his attempts from beyond the perimeter. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 30 points a game for him, dozen boards a night. And they're facing a Pels team who lost 7 out of their last 10, bottom 3 in defensive field goal percentage. New Orleans is also allowing 15 made 3 balls a game. I'll tell you what, Milwaukee could potentially shoot lights out from long range. Alvarado's questionable for New Orleans. Lillard banged up for Milwaukee. Now, the Bucks saw a bunch of overs in their recent handful of games. Pelicans with overs recently against the Lakers, Pistons, and Timberwolves. I like the Bucks minus 11.5, over 222. All right, next and final NBA breakdown. Rockets, Warriors, 8:30 p.m. East. Golden State is minus 4.5, totals 226 and a hook. Now, listen, both clubs have been tough on the defensive end of the floor. Golden State, they're 5th in the league in steals, 8th in points allowed. Meanwhile, Houston on the other side, they're giving up only 109 points a night, 2nd in the league in defensive boards. Houston with unders against the Lakers, Hawks, and Heat. Warrior games went 5-4 to the under in their last 9, throwing out that Laker game. I like the under 226.5. All right, moving on. Major League Baseball. Yankees-Pirates, 1:35 Eastern first pitch. The Yankees are minus $1.55, totals 9. Will Warren for New York, Andrew Heaney on the bump for Pittsburgh. Now, the Pirates dropped 6 out of their last 7. All kinds of problems at the plate. The Bucs were held to just 2.7 runs a game during that span I just mentioned. And they're facing Will Warren on the mound, who allowed just 1 hit through 5 innings of work in his season debut. Of course, the Yankees have been just ripping the cover off the ball in the box. Aaron Judge with 6 homers, 17 RBI, OPS of 1447. And Anthony Volpe, he's hitting .303 with an OPS of 1119. Yankees saw overs in their last 3 straight, 6-1 to the over in their last 7. Give me the Pinstripers, minus 155, over 9. All right, next game, Dodgers-Phillies, 1:35 East, the rubber match. Knotted up 1 game apiece in the series. The Dodgers are minus 135 in Game 3, total 7.5. Tyler Glasnow for Los Angeles, Christopher Sanchez for Philadelphia. And listen, the bats have been a bit cold for the Fightins here lately. Just 3.1 runs a game they averaged in their last 6 outings. And they're facing Tyler Glasnow, who had a scoreless 5 innings of work in his season debut. 8 strikeouts and just 2 hits in that start. Of course, at the dish, Tommy Edmonds got a handful of homers, OPS of 909. And Shohei Ohtani leads the roster in hits, OPS nearly in the thousands for him. Now, oddly enough, Dodger games went 4-1 to the under in their last 5. Philadelphia saw unders in their last 6 straight. I like the Dodgers minus $1.25, under 7.5. All right, next matchup, Marlins-Braves, 1:35 East. Atlanta's minus $1.65, total 7.5. Grant Holmes for the Braves, Sandy Alcantara for Miami. Now, Sandy's got an ERA of 3.72 through a couple of starts. Of course, Atlanta's been miserable for the most part at the plate in their first couple of series. I think the Marlins keep this one close, could win this one outright. Give me the Marlins plus 1.5, under 7.5 runs. Next contest, Reds-Brewers, 2:10 Eastern start. Milwaukee's minus $1.40, totals 8. Chad Patrick for the Brewers, Carson Spears for the Reds. And the Reds have also been miserable at the plate this year. They've been shut out 3 times already. And they're facing Chad Patrick on the mound, who's got a 3.18 ERA through a couple of appearances this year. Of course, this Milwaukee pitching staff has been real good over the past handful of days. We're just going to block out that opening Yankee series. Throwing that aside, this is a pitching staff who's really hunkered down, give these guys, opportunities to win. I like the Brewers minus $1.40, under 8. Next matchup, Orioles-Royals, 2:10 p.m. East. Baltimore's $1.20 away from home, totals 8. Cade Povich for Baltimore, Chris Bubich for Kansas City. Now, Boobie threw 6 innings of scoreless ball in his last start. 8 strikeouts and just 3 hits allowed in that outing. Of course, at the plate, Michael Garcia is hitting .320 with an OPS in the thousands. Johnny India with an on-base percentage of .389. Of course, both teams with overs in 4 out of their last 6, respectively. I like the Royals plus $1, over 8. Next matchup, Padres-Cubs, 2:20 p.m. East. Chicago's minus $1.35, total 7.5. Ben Brown for the Cubs, Kyle Hart for San Diego. Now, Hart allowed 2 runs over 5 hits in his season debut. A handful of strikeouts through 5 innings of work. And prior to this series with Chicago, the Pods were coming off 2 straight series sweeps, having their hands full a bit with the Cubbies, but this is a really good team. Bunch of guys who can hit the ball. Fernando Tatis, he's hitting .412, OPS of 991. Jackson Merrill's hitting .375 with an OPS in the thousands. And they're facing Ben Brown, who's got an ERA close to 6 after a couple of appearances here this year. Of course, the Cubbies saw overs in all of their contests this season except for 2. I like this price point for San Diego. I can't see him getting swept in this spot. especially after starting, 7-0. I think we'll see them bounce back. Great price point for them. I like the Padres plus $1.15 over 7.5. Next game, A's Rockies, 3:10 p.m. East. The Athletics are minus $1.15, totals 10. Joey Estes for the A's, Chase Dollander for Colorado. Now the 23-year-old Dollander makes his major league debut. Did get knocked around a bit in spring training. Had a 7.13 ERA through 6 starts. Double-digit walks and a handful of homers allowed. Of course, at the plate, the Rockies have been abysmal. They've been held to 2 runs or less 5 times already this year. And they're going to face an Athletics lineup who actually has a couple of guys who've been hitting the baseball. Tyler Soderstrom's batting .323 with an OPS in the thousands. Jacob Wilson, he's hitting .379 with an OPS in the thousands as well. I like the A's minus $1.15 over 10. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. Mariners-Giants, 4:05 East. San Francisco's $1.20, total 7.5. Jordan Hicks for the Giants, Brian Wu for Seattle. And despite a really good season debut for Brian Wu, this Seattle pitching staff as a whole, they've been pretty dreadful over the past week or so. They're facing a San Francisco lineup who's done a nice job to start the year. Elliot Ramos with double-digit hits on the season. Wilmer Flores with double-digit RBI. Of course, on the mound, Jordan Hicks threw 6 innings of scoreless baseball in his last outing. Just 1 run and 6 strikeouts through 6 innings of work. I like the Giants minus $1.20 under 7.5. With that, folks, now it's time for our quick pick recap. NBA, Hornets plus 10, over 227.5. Lakers plus 9, under 233. I like the under 214.5 in that Raptors-Nets matchup. Jazz plus 12, over 243.5. Spurs plus 2.5, over 227. Cavaliers minus 10, over 236.5. Celtics minus 20, under 226. Suns plus 7.5, over 228 and a hook. I like the over 239 in that Pacers-Nuggets matchup. Bucks minus 11.5, over 222. Under 226.5 in that Rockets-Warriors game. Baseball, Yankees minus 155, over 9. Dodgers minus $1.25, under 7.5. Marlins plus 1.5, under 7.5 runs. Toronto plus $1.15, over 7.5. Milwaukee minus $1.40, under 8. Royals plus $1, over 8 runs. Padres plus $1.15, over 7.5. Athletics minus $1.15, over 10. Give me the Giants minus $1.20, under 7.5. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium page. And just a friendly final reminder, if you do end up getting a membership on my premium page, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships during that time frame, absolutely free. Going to be included with your membership. That's why I always tell folks, that Gold Club package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. Gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. But most importantly, folks, got to thank you for joining me right here on the free video. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, folks, happy Sunday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium page.